new research students came because they were talented people, and now there were more of them. It growed for a while, and wonderful other talented people like Les Green and Jeremy Waldron and Will Wellershire and so on came as research students too. So we had a research student community. That's an unusual thing in a law school. I mean, it's not that Oxford was competing with 100 other law schools to attract the best research students. It's just that law schools weren't doing the research student thing, typically, not many of them anyway. And Oxford had a DPhil which it could offer, and it was unfashionable, and you didn't really need it to become a law don or anything like that. But in philosophy of law, it was attractive to work with these very talented people, so there was a reason to be here and to do it. That was all just luck and strangeness that should all happen like that. Then there was, as Timothy's indicated, there was a little bit of a sort of problem that emerged from that, which was these extremely talented people, they cast a very dark shadow for a little while, because it wasn't that one didn't want to spend time with them and one didn't want to work with them. Of course one did. So there were always more of us queuing up to be research students. One just always felt that one might be in their shadow indefinitely. And I think a lot of people, very talented scholars who might have decided to self-identify as philosophers of law for a period, I think a period in the 80s, decided that although they were educated in this field and had philosophical qualifications and were supervised by Raz or by Finnis or by Dworkin or by Hartsville until the early 80s, that these people, some of these people, felt that they should self-identify as something else. And that was true in the Oxford faculty as well. Many people who started off thinking that they were here to do philosophy of law for a while decided that they would think about life in a different way, not losing their philosophical interests, but placing themselves differently. And so there was a period, Timothy and I were we were the Indians among the many chiefs for a while. Yeah, there were 2 Indians and lots of chiefs. But it was hard. It was a hard period, and you had to think about whether you were going to try and do more of the same. As I say, answer the same questions. I don't mean write down the same ideas. That would have been an utterly futile waste of a life. But think about the same questions. Or whether you were going to make your own way. And I think for those of us who were supervised by these great figures in the late 80s and early 90s and who stuck around here, one of the great blessings really, of our experience was that we had to find new topics and new problems, because not that we didn't want to also think about the topics and problems that our supervisors had thought about, but that they had done tremendous work and there were other things to explore. And so a lot of people now working in Oxford, for a while they didn't. They were research students, so they worked elsewhere, and now there are more of us here again. You might say too many. Some people say too many. Some people say, what do we need another philosopher of law for? Haven't we got more philosophers in the law faculty than lawyers? But one thing that's quite important to understand is that we do all now work on what we think of as a diversity of topics. Now, I don't know whether you think of it as a diversity of topics. I think there are some people who don't think it's a diversity of topics. They think that somehow secretly it's all one topic and it's opposed to some other way of doing things. Maybe there are ways of doing things that are just not represented here. I think one reason is that thanks to the legacy of Hart and then of Hart's students, we probably do, as a community, self-identify as philosophers. Right? So we think it's important that we should be professional philosophers and be able to go to conferences with other professional philosophers and not stand to philosophy as military music stands to music if we can help it. Maybe we can't help it, Maybe we're doomed to fail in our endeavor to be philosophers in the central or focal meaning. But we have it as our self-image and our self-identity. And that may be in some way alienating. I don't know. It's not our exclusive property to do this here. So I'm not sure why anybody should feel badly about our doing it, but maybe some people do.